All right, this video, many of you may have seen it, jostling at the bar, and then, well, you'll see this thing play out. Well, Florida State University quarterback DeAndre Johnson, the young man with the hat backwards there, caught on tape punching a woman in the face, the team booting Johnson, and he's now facing battery charges. But Johnson's attorney says the woman started it, and he claims even yelled racial slurs at him. Now, to be clear, there was no audio.
There is a witness that said that heard this, and that did not invoke Mr. Johnson to do anything. He had then tried to de-escalate the situation. It wasn't until she struck him twice before he reacted.
Okay, we're all brought up here. One of the cardinal rules when you're a kid is it's never right to hit a woman. But can it be self-defense if she hits first, even if you're a football player? Now, everybody, I think I haven't heard any criticism of Florida State after how they bungled the handling of the Jameis Winston case here, and everybody looked back on both how it was prosecuted, how it was handled, that terrible press conference afterwards, that he was obviously given preferential treatment, Jameis Winston was, in that rape investigation, forgetting whatever did or didn't happen in that dorm room. Nonetheless, Florida State reacted relatively quickly here and immediately dismissed him from the team and revoked his scholarship. All right, Doug, that simple rule here. We did see on video, we don't know what was said, but she did strike him first. Now, obviously, he looks like he's got at least 4 inches, probably 60 pounds on the young woman, maybe even more than that. Where's that line between when you're allowed to defend yourself, the gender of the person doing it, the size of the person who initiates the contact, and the person who responds?
So first there's the family rule. You're never allowed to hit girls, right?
Yep.
Everybody's told their son that. But, you know, in the statute, it doesn't differentiate between men and women. You know, you look at the video, listen, she's not a tiny person. She's standing there. She hits him in the face, and he hits her back. That's self-defense. That's exactly what this statute is. That's what it's there for. May not be nice to look at. It's never nice to look at when somebody hits another person in the face, man or woman, but that is technically what she hit him first, and he responded.
I'm just going to disagree on the facts. If you look at the video, you see that he grabs her arm. In Florida, that's battery. That's any touching is battery. So I would say that he was the initial aggressor. She had the right to self-defense. He's holding her.
But Amy, she puts her fist up.
She throws the first punch.
No, she puts her fist up with the right hand and grabs it. And I think what he's doing is he's stopping her from hitting him with the right, and she throws a left. And yet, now we all know the self-defense laws in Florida. Yes, if you feel like you are going to if you reasonably feel you're going to be subjected to physical force, you can respond with non-deadly force. But come on.
Let's please not bring in stand your ground, at least for one night.
Come on,
Yeah.
They're at a bar. She's tipsy and she just holds her. I'm sorry. I don't know that he needed to be expelled. He should have been disciplined, but I don't think he needed I don't think he needed to throw that punch.
If she was the initial aggressor, he had every right to defend himself. But also, let's take a scenario.
Wait a second. Let me do an extreme example again. She's 5 feet. He's 7 feet.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
Is it still the same thing? Are we going to still argue it?
It goes to reasonableness, and quite frankly, I don't think he needed to throw that punch.
There should be a higher duty of care for somebody who has specialized training, who has a physical advantage, somebody who is trained in the military to kill, somebody who is a professional athlete. These are people who are stronger. So it should not be based on gender, because let's say Ronda Rousey comes in here. She's the UFC martial artist. She could do some serious damage, I'm sure, to any one of you guys. So
well, I'm sure Doug thinks that he's safe, but my money's on Rousey. Mayo, how about this? Is there an extra standard let's say he was a regular co-ed, okay? He wasn't on the football team. Is there an extra presumption, forget about in the eyes of the law, that you're given a scholarship, you're there to represent the school, that the school can or should dismiss you more summarily than if you were a regular co-ed, because you're assuming when you go there, right, that there's certain expectations that are put on you that aren't put on when we were dopey freshmen going away to college.
Realistically, absolutely, you're right. Should that be the case? I don't necessarily think so. I think that as a student, period, from FSU, you're representing the school. But the other issue is, Was he really defending himself? I mean, she could barely punch. And it brings up a whole other issue about having young people in bars, you know, high school, well,
Weren't they
19-year-olds.
he's underage.
19-year-olds in bars drinking. I'm not sure the age is in Florida, but
Well, he
clearly,
definitely was a minor. I don't know about the young lady.
but he also could have retreated. She wasn't going to hurt him. So he could have backed away. Even if he felt he had to keep an eye on her, he could have done that. Now, is there a duty for him to do so? No. However, also, if you feel like you're defending yourself, you use the amount of force necessary. Here, the amount of force necessary was simply grabbing her arm and stopping her from punching him.
You know what strikes me about this again is, imagine if there wasn't a camera. I mean, think about all the cases, guys, we have talked about this year at this table. And from what happened in South Carolina, and I can go through all the litany here, Staten Island, etc. The advent of video in your world and how it has changed, how cases are prosecuted, how now we're interpreting video rather than words and evidence. Do you think net it's been better for justice, the video, or do you think sometimes that's all we'll look at and we don't use any of the mitigating factors?
I think, yeah, Doug.
Well, I think with video, listen, we all have the things that we believe in our minds that we think these people act a certain way or this police officer acts like this. It's very difficult to think that way when you actually see the event occur. And when the event, you see it with your own eyes, I mean, it is what it is at that point.
Net, it's good. Net, it's good.
Because you never see, Jimmy, what happened right before. Now, take this case out. You never see what preceded it, and you don't even see the aftermath sometimes. And no matter what you guys are going to tell a jury that did or didn't happen after the fact, even if you had an eyewitness, the only thing they're going to think about, I would imagine, when they go back into deliberate is that 10, 12 seconds of video that they just witnessed. And that's the only thing that's there. And you can't unwind that clock. I think net, I support body cameras for cops and more video out there. And I'm glad there was security video in this particular bar. But I can just imagine how difficult it is to tell the other part of the story when the only thing they're going to think about is what they just saw looped over and over and over again.
Although in this case, there's a video that's a long video. I'm sure you can go a half hour before, half hour after. You see exactly how they come into contact with each other.
Maybe this is bad.
So this
maybe
is
this is a
pretty
bad
good
example
one.
for my argument, but I'm just saying how much it has changed.
It has,
the
but
Rodney King cops were acquitted, and all you got was a video of the beating. And the reason, or at least their defense, focused so much more on what precipitated it. I'm not saying that it can't cause an injustice every once in a while, but net, I think it's been good.
And like you said, with the Bill Cosby situation, you would have given him the benefit of the doubt. And sometimes celebrities do get the benefit of the doubt. And this guy's a football star. A lot of people had an interest in him making it to the NFL.
right.
Yep.
But to the same point, law enforcement gets the benefit of the doubt because we're watching, what was it, 10, 11, 12 officers kicking Rodney King after he's already on the ground.
The subject of race is going to be the topic of our next segment because we're going to go to South Carolina next, where lawmakers, as we speak, are deciding whether to take down the Confederate flag from the State House. But the question is, beyond the State House, are you and should you be legally allowed to fly it on your own personal property? And that's a subject that states are also grappling with, even outside of South Carolina.